Hello everybody, my name is Numbhuts, and you're watching my video where I redesign Alistor from Hazbin Hotel. Before I start the speed design of Alistor, I wanted to talk a little bit about the design we're already familiar with and what I would want to change. This is what Alistor looks like in the pilot for Hazbin Hotel. There are a few issues that I have with this design. The first issue is that he doesn't look like a radio show host. He looks like a demented candy salesman. Another issue is that he's all one color. There's no accent color. Black is not, and it shouldn't be used as an accent color because it's a shade. There's too many nearly full saturation colors in this design. Alistor is a radio demon who died in 1933, so why does his hair look like a 2012 scene kid's hair? It's not anywhere near what hairstyles from back then looked like, and honestly, his outfit also doesn't portray the 1930s very well either. I think a lot of the problems Alistor faces is because he's trying to be too many things at once, which makes him hard to look at. I noticed in the pilot specifically, Alistor was hard for me to watch because of all the same colors and patterns and things going on. Alistor has gone through very little public design changes, so I think that's why he looks the way that he does. He makes sense for a design for someone in high school to make. I believe Vivian has stated she designed these characters in high school, so that makes sense, but characters should always go through multiple passes before being put out to the public. Oh, and I'm going to be drawing him in my style, so it's not going to look 100% like the original design, obviously. My style is drastically different from Vivziepop's, so it'll look pretty different. So, with that being said, let's start the design process. The first thing I wanted to tackle was his scene kid hair. Back then it wasn't in fashion at all, and it doesn't make me take him very seriously when he's supposed to be a big tough villain. Back then the in hair was short, slicked back, or combed to the side hair, so that's what I opted to do. I ended up making his antlers larger to push that deer narrative a little bit better. He's supposed to be a deer demon as listed on his wiki, but it doesn't come across very well because his antlers are so tiny and it hides in his hair. I kept his monocle because I liked that aspect of his design and I wanted to keep it in. I understand that the hair tufts on top of his head are supposed to mimic deer ears, but it didn't come across very well, and it just made it look like he'd forgotten how to comb his hair. So I ended up giving him larger, pointier ears that mimic a deer a little bit better, I feel. Alistor's body type I didn't change that much. I wanted to keep it the same because it wouldn't really have any beneficial reasons for changing it to the design. I realized that most of the cast has the same body type, except for a few differences. And I will be changing that later on when I get to them. However, for Alistor, I didn't really see a need to change it, so I just kept him kind of just skinny like that. I pulled up a bunch of different references of clothes from the 1930s to go off of, and I started to go with one of the suits, but decided the second looked more like a radio show host. The people running the radio shows back then didn't typically wear a whole suit, usually, at least from what I saw. It was mostly plain white shirts, suspenders, slacks, and a fedora, but that doesn't really scream one of the overlords of hell to me, so I opted instead for a more fancier approach with a suit jacket. I put that weird little shoe cover on his shoes because I thought it would break it up from normal black shoes and black pants. I thought it would add something visually interesting. I'm not sure what the shoe cover is called, feel free to tell me down below if you know, but I just thought it would look nice. His radio cane I kept pretty much the same. I just wanted to make it look a little bit more like a microphone from the age that it came from. I thought the concept of a microphone being his cane was really cool, so I kept that because I liked that aspect of his design. So Alistor is a radio deer demon, so I wanted to play to that a little bit more than his tiny stick antlers. So I made his antlers larger and I gave him a deer tail to kind of balance the design a little bit better. Also, I'm fully aware that normal Alistor we see isn't his full demon form, and that in his full demon form he looks more like a deer. He has larger antlers, but honestly, if you don't stare at his design, it's hard to see his antlers in his basic form. So when he goes full demon and suddenly has these big antlers, it's kind of jarring. So I wanted to make it more clear that yes, this boy, he is a deer. On his tie, I added an eyeball, just to make it more visually interesting. Speaking of ties, everyone from Hazbin Hotel has a bow tie, which to me is weird. I know that Viv said that it's easier to separate the head from the rest of the body, but honestly you can do that with a normal tie or in a collar. And I think she just wants to draw bow ties, which honestly, fair, bow ties are cute as hell, but it made the cast look a little too samey, like they all shop from the same store. So I mixed it up a little bit by giving him a basic tie and this time putting an eye in the middle. I don't really have anything to say here. It's just the lining process, and there's nothing different from when I was lining it to sketching, so I didn't change anything. Alistor lived in the 1920s and died in the 1930s due to a dog attack. It says on his Wikipedia page that he used to be a serial killer. To me, when a character looks like a normal person but is secretly murderous, that's always way more scary and threatening to me than somebody that's overtly aggressive and mean. The second Alistor comes on screen, it's easy to tell that he's not a good person and shouldn't be trusted, so it further backs up when Vaggie says about him not being trustworthy. So when Charlie sees him and immediately is like, "Yep, I'm trusting you with my hotel," it was kind of stupid and felt a little out of character for me. So I made him look more normal and not as creepy, because it would make more sense for Vaggie to hype up this demon being terrible and just absolutely the worst, and then opening the door to see a dude that looks like a totally normal guy. It makes more sense story-wise. For his color palette, I looked up popular fashion colors from the 1930s to give me that kind of vibe, and ended up cycling through a lot of colors. I really wanted to stay away from the red scheme because you don't necessarily need to use red colors to signify something as hell or in hell. In fact, blue has also been able to signify something as hellish because it's cold and an empty color. There's a lot of demon designs out there that use cool colors that also look like demons, so I initially wanted to stay away from the warm colors to break up the lineup more. That being said, the 1930s color palette has a lot of warm tone colors in it, so after a few passes of colors I ended up with a design that I liked that happened to be warm tones. I frequently sent one of my friends the colors to get her opinions on it, and I ended up with a very nice gold and red scheme with teal accent colors at the end, which I ended up really liking. It's my favorite pass that I did. However, I did save the best versions of each color pass I did, and you guys can determine which ones you like the best. I knew pretty much from the very beginning that I wanted that teal color to be his accent color, and I pretty much kept that throughout the whole thing. I think there was either maybe one or two that I tried the accent colors to be different. I did swap where the teal was, but for the most part, the teal kind of was always the accent color. This color pass was not my favorite. The skin tone was weird, the hair was a weird color, his jacket was a weird color, pretty much everything was weird. I was getting used to trying to experiment with things and seeing what skin colors and stuff worked. It didn't come out looking the best. It's not bad, but it just doesn't really give me demon vibes. I know I said that I wanted to go for a normal man vibe, but I don't want to go too far into normal man territory. We don't want a normal man, we just want a weird normal man, you know? At this point, I had sent my friend the first color pass, and she suggested turning the tie and the antlers from teal to a brown color, and I ended up going with kind of a rusty brown color, and that made it look really nice, and this one is probably, it's better than, it's not probably, it is better than the normal just flat teal colors. I changed the white parts from a washed out pink color to just pure white because I thought that it made it look too pinkish for my taste, with it just being kind of a light pink color, and I think that also helped balance it out as well, so that way it wasn't all tones of red, it was just white. With this pass, I wanted to do a more blue color, and it looks really nice as well, but it still wasn't quite the it factor that I was going for. It's not a bad color, it's actually probably one of my favorite colors on the color palette list. It just didn't necessarily work very well with the jacket idea that I had going on in my mind. Here I messed around with the different hair colors that I could have chosen for him. I like this blue color a lot, but I think that the blonde looks a lot better than having colored hair. It's more royally, like overruly to have natural colored hair, I think, than to have dyed hair. It's more professional. Again, I was feeling he looked too normal, so I asked my friend what she thought, how I could make it look more demon, and she suggested doing a simple fix of making his eyes black and red, and honestly, I owe her my life because that was just what we needed to push the design from normal man territory into demon guy territory. At this point, my friend had suggested maybe trying out a crimson red jacket, and I tried that, and I really, really liked it. So I replaced the teal with a more sandy color and then later on a gold color because that tends to work a little bit better than the specific shade of teal that I was working with. And I think it ended up looking really nice, and it became my favorite look and the final look that I decided. With that being said, these are the finished designs. Which ones do you like the best? I think they all look pretty good, but personally, this one is my favorite. If you liked this video, please consider giving it a like and tell me what you thought in the comments. And give me a subscribe, because I upload speed paints and other redesigns. The next redesign I'm going to be doing is Angel Dust, also from Hazbin Hotel. All of my social media is linked down below, including a link to my Discord server, where I post whips, art, posts, and play games, and we have movie nights and stuff. It's a pretty chill place. And with that, this video comes to a close. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Bye!